So you're probably thinking of going on a campervan road trip in New Zealand. Well, why not? There's so many beautiful places that New Zealand has to offer, and some of which you just feel like waking up to every morning. But the best part of it all is that you don't exactly need to spend that much money to stay in a campervan. Wanna know why? Well, stay tuned as I'll explain a little bit more about it in this video. Before you start to rent a campervan in New Zealand, it's good to know what types of campervans are available and what suits your needs and budget. Thankfully, there's quite a wide range of campervans to look out for. Some are great for couples, solo camping, or some like motorhomes are massive and would accommodate an entire family. Especially in off-season, rental prices of campervans can drop pretty low. We got ours for 65 New Zealand dollars a day and rented for 10 days. Therefore saving us that extra cash for groceries or other food items. But what if there are only two of you, you're really on a tight budget, and you want to just go as low as possible? Well, on our May trip to New Zealand, we rented sort of a makeshift campervan, and I call it makeshift because it's literally a Toyota Estima that had the back portion of the car revamped to fit in most of what you would expect from a traditional campervan or a motorhome. As you can expect from just looking at it from the outside, this will come with quite a few shortcomings which I will run through in a bit, but hey, you get what you pay for, right? This tree behind me, yeah, that one, looks like something out of a horror movie. I don't know, maybe the Conjuring. pretty freaky. It's a really beautiful view this morning. It's a bit chilly, being very rainy at night. But here's the beautiful view that we can enjoy this morning. Now, before we get into the features of our campervan, I must stress the importance of being a responsible camper and understanding the regulations relating to campervans and freedom camping in New Zealand. The basic rules of freedom camping can be found on newzealand.com, and it's really not difficult to follow these rules unless you're out there to intentionally cause any form of mischief. And finding freedom camping spots is also just as easy. All you need is a mobile phone with a New Zealand SIM card with data in it. You can simply download any of these apps on your mobile phone. Campermate was my go-to for this trip because of its ease of use. You can find everything that's essential for you to survive in your campervan over the course of your trip, as well as finding freedom camping sites to stay overnight, of course. Do note, however, that not all freedom camping sites are free of charge. In fact, many require you to actually pay a fee for each person, depending on the site. You can check more of this in the Campermate app. So I kind of want to show y'all like what kind of car we actually rented. It's kind of a small camper van. It's self-contained. Now self-contained is kind of like a certification you can get. See that? Yeah, so apparently self-contained is kind of the standard that the vehicle has to meet in order to actually freedom camp. So freedom camping in New Zealand basically means there's certain designated spots where you don't have much available, like you don't have enough like water, maybe like there's no toilet around, and self-contained vehicles actually allow you to stay overnight for a couple of days at least, depending on the site itself. But basically non-self-contained vehicles will not be allowed to some freedom camping sites, and yeah, you'll be restricted from staying there. If you do, you'll get fined. So yeah, if you do plan coming to New Zealand to do some kind of a camping or freedom camping, do look out for that self-contained sign or that self-contained certification. It's really important. You don't want to get into trouble. Do take note of this piece of information, or else you will have to pay a hefty fine of up to $1,000.
Here goes nothing.
Now on to the features of our campervan. One thing to note about renting campervans like I did is that your only source of power to charge any device is through a separate battery in the car that's linked to a solar panel on the roof of the car. There are only USB Type A outlets, and 2 of them to be exact, from this power source, so don't expect to charge anything larger than your mobile phone. You may also be disappointed to find out that it doesn't support fast charging, which is quite surprising in this day and age. So one tip I would give is to bring a power bank that supports fast charging for your daily power requirements, and then when you don't need to use it, plug your power bank into the separate car battery. The entire space behind the driver's and front passenger seats is where you will sleep, and all the space for storage of your luggage, bags, shoes, cookware, food items, and any other fancy stuff you brought are under the bed.
So under this mattress over here, there's a makeshift bed. And there's a compartment where you can raise up, and you have storage. You have a mini fridge down here which you can open up, and as you can see, we bought some items already. We have some bell peppers in there. It's a little bit cold. It's meant to be, obviously, to preserve all our food. Pots and pans at the back here. Can't really see it right now, and there's a cooker. 2 sets of cookers over here. Yeah, cool.
You are actually provided with a wooden board which you can place at the back of the car to do all your cooking, but at times we decided to just cook at a separate camping table which we rented at an additional cost. So by now you're probably wondering, where do we then wash our dishes after eating? Well, say hello to our sink-turned water bottle holder with probably the most useless water tap that you can ever use to wash anything. Seriously though, this water tap is simply unusable due to the fact that it operates like a manual water pump where you have to keep pumping continuously in order to force water out from its water tank below. The idea behind this system is that you have 2 separate tanks, one for clean water and the other for grey water. So it pumps the clean water out of the tap, and then the dirty water you use in the sink gets washed down into the grey water tank. It's quite a neat idea, but I'm sorry, the mechanism for the tap is a no-go. Unless you're up for a 30-minute cardio session every morning, afternoon and evening after each meal, it's a damn good idea to just use the wash basins provided at some freedom camping sites. In case nature calls and you gotta do the dirty work, there is a porta potty provided right next to the sink below, but it's screwed in place so you can't move it around. To be honest, it's just kind of nasty to do any business in that thing, especially when it's right behind the driver's seat, so we decided that throughout our entire trip, we would only use it for emergency cases. Compared to a large campervan or motorhome, a car has better fuel economy, so you will end up topping up less petrol than what you would do in a large vehicle. It also drives pretty much the same as any other car, and we didn't have any issues with its performance on the road. The other advantage of using a smaller campervan is also the fact that, especially when you're in cities or towns, you can park at both car parking lots and dedicated campervan lots. Motorhomes are typically too large to fit into standard parking lots, so the parking options are much more limited for you if you do rent a motorhome. If somewhere along your trip you feel like you need access to a power source, more kitchen amenities, toilets, washing machines, or even barbecue pits, that's when you can choose to stay overnight at a holiday park. You can think of holiday parks as kind of like a backpacker's hostel where you can park your campervan for the night while having access to all the facilities they provide you with. Now there's one other important thing that I would recommend bringing for the campervan life, whether you're freedom camping or you're in a holiday park. If you've watched my hiking video, you've probably seen me wearing this on my head. Yes, it is a headlamp. Especially at most places you'll be freedom camping at, there's usually very little to no light around you, and if you need to walk out to the toilet at night, well, good luck, because...
And my friend kind of said something which I kind of agree with. He told me this morning that when he wanted to go to the toilet in the early hours in the dark, it seems like he's playing like Phasmophobia. If you don't know what Phasmo is, it's kind of like a horror game where you're a ghost hunter and you're entering a haunted house. How's between dark turns? Nice. It's pitch black out here. Yeah. Dude, he's down here.
Oh, he's
Marching, run the other way. Too close.
Wait, stay.
After you're done with the horrors of the night, you wake up the next morning to have breakfast with a view, and then head off to wherever your next point of interest is. For us, it was the Hobbiton movie set tours, just a 5-minute drive from our campground. After finishing our Hobbiton movie set tour, we went on for more sightseeing, get some groceries, and then settle into a holiday park for the night.
Hello, we are making breakfast and lunch before the trip to where? Tongariro, trip to Tongariro. Please be safe, yeah?
So unfortunately, we kind of ran into a problem this morning. We tried to start the car engine because we were supposed to be driving off to Durangi for our Tongariro whitewater rafting. Unfortunately, the engine is just not, it's just refusing to start.
Unfortunately, we missed our whitewater rafting as we had to get a car battery issue fixed. However, we then got to rest for the remainder of the day and prepare for the next big item, a hike in the Tongariro National Park.